A quick note before we begin. Like many of you, the images of January 6th are seared into my memory. And here's the thing about seeing. Once you see something, you can't unsee it. It is there. In a way, you carry the burden of what you've seen and what you know, what you've witnessed. And the thing is that what we've seen was an ideology play out. And ideologies, they don't die. They transmute. They show up in different forms. They find ways of unknowingly working their way back into your heart and your mind through the cracks, through the dark nights, and through the challenges and the confusion of life. So the question is, how will you use what you've seen yesterday to help shape your tomorrow? Recommit to your heart. Stay near it. Recommit to your values. Reaffirm them. Honor them. Fall back in love with life again. That's my encouragement for you. All right, let's reset. Breathe. Finding ourselves standing in a place of power. Recalibrate. Ignite. Here we go, here we go, here we go. One time for the one time. What's going down in London? It is absolutely going down on there. Book, and I got this from Book. Book is writing about Russian billionaires divorcing in London. If you haven't heard about it, the Akhmedovs, they're Russian billionaires, and they are having an all-out billionaire duel over the divorce, and it's gotten ugly. Not that this is really a gossip blog, right? But it's more of self-help. It's more of personal growth. It's more of business. But every once in a while, listen, I got this from Book. Book is saying that the mother is suing her 27-year-old son because she says that he's shielding hundreds of millions of dollars of his father's assets. Wow. It's really going down in London. I don't know about you, but that story right there is enough to drink on. Here we go. Glasses up, hearts open, heads down. Let's drink. I'm sipping on an old fashioned. What's your aperitif for tonight? On today's episode, Samsung's profits are surging. Plus, Mike Volpi's innovation versus optimization argument. And in Carried Heavy, we'll check out startups who are flexing on venture markets. Resident, hello Ralphie. Let me just put in a little aside there. That name right there is absolutely adorable. And Theolytics. Shout out to everyone who's popping bottles and naming yachts today. Where are the builders? Who's launching startups that will shake the room, set the tone, create the agenda? I'm feeling it today. Are you prepared to carry heavy? I'm feeling Una. I'm doing sound baths. I'm buying and reading about earning statements. I'm learning how to build sales funnels. My mind is set to growth. I'm gleaning wisdom from Mike Volpi on Twitter. The real estate investors, they call this grinding. The executive coaches, they call this aligning. I'm a builder. Whatever you call it, be fair. What are you doing today to make your life better? Vision board it, manifest it, but make it happen. In Clubhouse parlance, I'm going to drop so many gems on you today that you won't have enough memory to store them all. Let's reset the room. Welcome to Try Flourishing. If this is your first time here, relax, grab an aperitif. You're going to be in for a good time today. And plus, make sure you have your insurance up to date on your viewing device, because I am likely to tear the screen off with all this wisdom. Omri, Los Angeles market check coming up in equities and crypto in moments. The location for today's show is set somewhere in the middle of Australia. It's called Uluru. Isn't that fun to say? Look at it. So majestic. Wonderful view. The ROI on the inside, gems dropped, vibes shared. It's at a respectable 9.36%. Am I adding value to you and your life? Be fair. Come on, be fair. If I am, and at any point during the show you find that value is added, I want you to become a sponsor of an upcoming Try Flourishing episode so that I can buy some more art and build a collection that one day I will be able to flex all over Christie's and Sotheby's at the same time. Visit tryflourishing.org and visit the sponsor page so you can learn how to sponsor an episode. You name your own price, right? It's all up to you. We're not sprung on the price. Let's reset the room by first grounding ourselves, taking a deep breath in, inhale, and release. Checking in on equities. The markets were up. The Dow up 211 points to 31,041. The S&P 500 up 55 points to 3,803. The NASDAQ up 326 punch. Oh, go ahead, NASDAQ flexing to 13,067. And the Russell up 38 points to 2,096. Wells Fargo. Oh, look at Wells Fargo. It's up 2.26% to $33.43. The banks are starting to recover. Twitter, which slapped a suspension on the president's account, they're down 1.75% to $52.33, or I should say for at least for the next 14 days. President. And we'll switch gears right now to CoinGecko. CoinGecko. Crypto markets down 2%, but listen, they're down relatively to 996,226,304,744. Look at that, getting ready to cross over into the $1 trillion territory. This is unbelievable. This is something that you are really going to have to bear witness to, that in relative short order, probably less than a month, we will have over $1 trillion market cap in crypto. That's just something that you should be aware of. And some of you don't like it. I get it. You don't get it. You think it's a scam. You think it's whatever. You don't like it. The reality is, it's the train. It's coming to town. It's the airplane. They're flying in. It's the new innovation. It's the internet that's coming into your existence, and you can either get on board or not. So BTC dominance 69.2%, ETH dominance 12.7%, ETH gas 214 GUI. Wow. If you don't know what any of that means, you need to get on it, right? Advance yourself. BTC currently sitting at 37,012 and ETH sitting at 1,099. Taking a deep breath in, inhale. And release. We don't have to get stuck on the numbers. Your portfolio will go up, it will go down, but you remember that you already have a strategy in place. You know your time horizon for your investments, you know your risk tolerance level, so you're okay whether things go up or whether you're going down. You are here to execute a strategy, not play to the whims of the market. Got that? Nice. So let's get into our inspiration for today. And so this comes courtesy of Mike Volpi, who is over at Index Ventures, right? Index Ventures, Mike Volpi, he delivered this thought piece, and I wanted to share this with you because every once in a while I'm just strolling through the Twitter streets, minding my own business, and inspiration just leaps up at me. And I say, you know what? This needs to be shared. This needs to be amplified. This needs to have a wider dissemination because sometimes things just get lost, right? There's so much happening. There's so much activity. There's so much noise that we miss out on these gems. And Mike Volpi, he dropped a gem here because he presented this argument between innovation and optimization, right? And this is something that all startups face. How much do we create and innovate versus how much do we try to optimize and create profit? And they both yield important things. The innovation, you're able to create new things, you're able to establish new processes, but you could also go bankrupt, right? Lose everything because you're never able to take it to market. And optimization, you may be getting every last drop of resource out of it, but you're not innovating and you're dying in a slow way, right? So it's either like a fast death or a slow death. And Mike Volpi, he talks about it here. So this is what he says in his thought piece. And if you haven't seen it, it's simply titled Innovation versus Optimization. And he writes this: innovation and optimization are strange bedfellows. Every CEO would like to have both, but in practice, they are forces that pull against each other. Did you see that? Did you hear that? Listen to this. He already put the gem right in the beginning, right? And that is that it is a space of tension, right? Tension is the creative force. It is the tension between ideas. It is the tension between forces. It is the tension between the two that creates the conditions for spectacular things to take place. And so if you are looking in your organization, sometimes you think that it's born out of calmness, right? But the growth is going to come out of some sort of tension, an intellectual tension, some sort of tension, right? And what he's talking about here is an innovation versus optimization tension. Okay, right? So let's continue. He says, they are forces that pull against each other, a bit like antagonists. The pursuit of business optimization can suck creativity and innovation out of the air. The blind pursuit of innovation can bankrupt a company by leaving behind a strew of creative but half-finished projects. Let me pause right there. Any of you entrepreneurs out there ever take a look at what you're working on and realize, I have so many projects that I've started but have not finished, right? Any startups out there, business owners out there saying, you know what, 2 years ago I began doing this and then I began doing this and I switched over to this project, right? And we have so much creative energy, we have so much inspiration, but we don't find time to optimize. We don't find time to execute, to see through to completion, right? We know what that's like. We know what that's like to begin to start but to never finish. And if that's something that you're dealing with, then you have to learn how to optimize. But at the same time, if you are caught in this daily grind, right, you are reaping all the success and benefits out of it, but you feel like you are stuck. You feel like you are just entrenched, that you are just going nowhere, like you're in this slow molasses. That may be time where you have to build in some innovation and creativity into your process. Let's continue. He says, so if you have to pick one, do you choose innovation as your core value or do you choose optimization? Right? That's an interesting way to frame it. What do you choose right now? And if I were to ask you, would you choose innovation or would you choose optimization? No judgment here. It's based upon what you think is of value. Okay. Volpi writes this of innovation. There are many ways to innovate. It is important to embrace the concept of innovation in its broadest definition. Innovation is any process that creates and expands new business opportunities for a company, right? Pause right there. Let that sink in. It is any process that creates and expands new business opportunities. Many of us, we think that profit can only come in the way that we read in a book, in a way that's always been done. But as we constantly innovate, we find new opportunities for revenue growth. I love this app called Clubhouse right now. I'm just always on it. And one of the things that's coming up is that there are these audio chat rooms that people are now beginning to monetize. They're selling sponsorships to them, just like they were an actual club, just like they were an actual event, right? They are developing new processes to create new revenue streams that didn't exist a few months ago. And sometimes you have to look at what in your current environment can be monetized in a new way, right? And that's how you can create that sense of innovation and optimize there, right? And he says, true innovation comes to market, right? Boom, boom, boom. A lot of us, we get stuck in this creative mindset that never comes to market, right? It's a constant idea train that never pulls into the station. We're always creating, but do we finalize? And so Volpi is saying here that ideas must come to market. Innovation must come to market. You have to bring your product to market. That's the real key here. You can't just stay stuck in this cycle of ideation, of what ifs, and let's try it this way. There comes a point where you have to bring the product to market. But then he goes on and continues to contextualize the argument and says, but innovation can definitely take advantage of pre-existing technology or business assets that exist within the company. And so he gives some examples of companies that offer spaces for innovation, right? He talks about how Google in 2004 IPO letter says, we encourage our employees, in addition to their regular projects, to spend 20% of their time working on what they think will most be benefit to Google. This empowers them to be creative and innovative. Many of our significant advances have happened in this manner. A number of significant products were born out of such approach. Gmail, AdSense, and so forth and so on. Right? The second idea that Volpi mentioned was this idea of creating a separate organization that is focused solely on innovation, right? Of solely on creating. He mentioned the third idea was to engage in mergers and acquisitions, right? To acquire the talent, to acquire those resources to innovate, right? And so there are so many ideas that we can utilize in order to innovate, right? We can buy the inspiration, we can grow the inspiration, or we can tinker around. All of those are valid ways. Whether you are iterating, whether you are growing, whether you are acquiring. And so he mentions this of optimization on the other hand. He says, in an increasingly data-driven world, optimization has become a critical process to create shareholder value. In board meetings, discussions around improving metrics are increasingly prevalent. And why not? If you can measure something, you can improve it and incrementally run a business better. Operational excellence is clearly a virtue and should be encouraged. But the tricky part of optimization is that it's easy to optimize when metrics are clearly measurable. But some projects are challenging to put metrics around. In fact, it's a desperate effort to apply metrics to everything. We often pick the wrong things to measure. The feedback loop of innovation, in particular, is long and hard to optimize. And so I want to allow that to just come to rest right there. Allow yourself to settle in on that point right there, that sometimes we don't choose the right thing to measure. right? We use conventional systems of analysis to apply to things that we are trying to grow, trying to build. And oftentimes, when we're engaging in innovation, in growth, in this ideation process, it's hard to measure that creative output. We can measure the number of hours spent on doing something. We can measure the number of views we had on something. But how do we measure this quality of innovation, of building something new, of creating something that did not exist before, of shifting the tone, of measuring a mood, right? Those are a little more nebulous and harder to define. And so I would like to invite you, wherever you are, to consider, one, how do you innovate? And remember, that is bringing new sources of revenue, any creative process, any process that enables that, and that you're bringing to market. But also, how do you optimize? And to have clearly measurable efforts, but having an awareness that it's difficult to measure everything. As leaders, as entrepreneurs, as startups, you are called to negotiate that tension, that conflict, as what he called it, that antagonist relationship between innovation and optimization. You cannot allow yourself to just fall prey to one or the other. You must build both. You must navigate through them both. And that is what makes an entrepreneur an artist, right? That is the artistry of it. You have the heart, you have the mind, right? You have the heart, that's the metric. You have the heart, that's the innovation and creativity. And you have the mind, that's the analytics and the metrics. And you have to travel with them both, right? You need them both in order to survive, to scale your business, and to see your ideas come to market and to flourish. So that is the key there. All right, taking a deep breath in, inhale. And release. So Samsung's profits are surging. Can you believe that? Go ahead, Samsung. All right, we're going to shift gears to our carried heavy now. In carried heavy, we look at the startups who are absolutely flexing on venture capital markets. Just doing a great thing. So we're going to start right now with Mountain View coming through, right? So we think about the cities, right? We think about the companies, and we think about the leadership. All three of those can carry heavy. And so we start with Mountain View, the city. They have carried heavy. They have come through because they are home to our first company, and that is Resident. Resident just raised $130 million in Series B from Baron Capital, in addition to Ion Crossover Partners and Nexus Capital Management. Resident is a house of direct-to-consumer brands for home furnishing space. That is such a hot area right now because people they're spending a lot of times in their homes, and they want their homes to look nice, right? They want them to have a sense of sophistication. Everybody's watching HGTV. Everybody's seeing all the home design blogs, and they're wanting theirs to look so special. They want that nice look, that in look. And so direct to consumer brands for home furnishing, that is fire. I still get, I know this isn't like digital, but I get that restoration hardware catalog, and I will flip through those pages, right? I will just be flipping through and just imagine myself on a chaise lounge with this spectacular infinity pool overlooking the ocean. Isn't that, I always see that in restoration hardware. Not only are they relaxing by an infinity pool, but the pool overlooks the ocean, right? It's like view of a beautiful lounge, overlooking a view of a beautiful infinity pool, overlooking a view upon an endless ocean, right? It is like beauty on top of beauty on top of beauty. like be fair, Restoration Hardware. Like, is my chaise lounge in my little nook of a side yard going to look the same as the one next to the infinity pool with the perfect lighting? But you know what? It's okay, because when I sit down in that chaise lounge chair, right, I'll still imagine that I have the infinity pool and the house overlooking the ocean to match, right? Like, be fair. All right, back to Resident. So Resident, um, let's see who the people are in Resident. Their CEO is Eric Hutchinson, as well as the co-founder Craig Schmeiser and co-founder and co-CEO Ran Resick. So those are the individuals leading the charge over there at Resident. So for all you marketers out there, we're going to take a look at their website for Resident and see what we see. All right, so we open it up. It starts with Resident in the upper left-hand corner. There's a search bar at the top. That's interesting. That's a little different, because usually we see the search bar a little further down, and then they have an icon. Like, I mean, it's a massive search bar, so you really can tell that they want you to go to the search. I think that's an interesting take there. And it has the account and the shopping cart. Underneath it has bedding, home, and new arrivals. That's interesting that they only split it between the two, right? So you can tell they don't not really doing kitchens. They're not really doing baths, right? That's not really the call to action. It's bedding, right? What goes on your bed and what goes in your home in general, right? And so and new arrivals. So they have an image of, it looks like a woman throwing a sheet over a bed, right? It's some nice hardwood floors. They have some large red curtains in the room. They have some mid-century modern furniture. They have this like plush velvet green chair. They have a fennel leaf ficus, right? So they have all the points, the selling points for like a young, up and coming, like buyer, right? Young professional, right? So, but the interesting thing is that the picture, it's relatively small. You would think that there would be a picture that would just be massive, but it's a relatively small picture. And then it has next to the picture, no place like home. Resident is a house of direct-to-consumer brands in the home goods space. The company owns and operates multiple brands, catering to different consumer furnishing needs, including Nectar and Dreamland. I could see somebody like getting Nectar. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. So if these are all different brands, so they all kind of fit different kind of consumers. Gotcha. And then it says no place like home. All right. So just based on that, what do you guys think? Are you vibing? You vibing with Resident? Do you want to go check out some of their goods? You want to see some of their new arrivals? I'm curious. Got my interest peaked. All right. Taking a deep breath in, inhale. And release. Shifting over to our next carried heavy. Coming out of Philadelphia, come through Philadelphia. It's Hello Ralphie. I just can't get enough of this name. Like, there is the creative caboodles on this one right here, because so the name itself, it just gets me. Hello Ralphie. Like, I just love that name. Like, I want to be a part of this just because of that name. And then their logo is so creative. So it's like the RX with like the medicine, you know, the typical prescription sign, that RX. But this time the R is made out of the shape of the dog. It's totally creative. And I'm like, whoever is doing the marketing behind Hello Ralphie, like, spot on, well done. Like, you carried your creative vision, is carrying just from what I see right there. But in general, Hello Ralphie has raised $1 million in seed funds from Hearst Labs and WPMC. The people behind Hello Ralphie, okay, are the founder, Felicity Johnson. All right, Felicity, come through, Felicity. You are carrying heavy with this brand, Hello Ralphie, and that logo. Let's check out the website and see what we see for all the marketers out there. Okay, so it starts Hello Ralphie, not even in the top right. So they're doing it a little different. Everything about Hello Ralphie, it's a little different, and it's cool different, right? So instead of it being at the top, right, the logo being in the top left, it's a little lower, right? It's a little lower, and it has like its own like spot, like it's divided by itself in the top, right? And it looks really nice. And so it has schedule an appointment, prescription and supplies, blog, join us, and more in the menu bar. And it has contact on the next line and ask Ralphie. What's that? I'm curious about what's ask Ralphie. And so it leads us to an app where you can ask a question. Oh, now that's clever. That is clever. I like this. Okay, and so you go down and into the hero image area, and it says, find vets who fit you best. Pet care from anywhere. Schedule now. Boom, boom, boom. Like it doesn't get any better. They have done the thing here with Hello Ralphie. From the name to the tone to this image. This is solid. This is just solid all around. And it says, now offering immediate appointments with licensed veterinary technician for advice and triage. Like, where's my checkbook? Let me get in on the Series A round of Hello Ralphie, because first of all, people love their pets. They spend an inordinate amount of money on their pets, and they want to have like vet care for them. And so you need to be able to find the best vet for your dog, for little Ralphie, right? So go check out Hello Ralphie, especially for those of you who are just thinking of like, I need some marketing inspiration. This is one of the best that I've seen. Like, someone go nominate them for a Webby Award, period. All right, taking a deep breath in, inhale. And release. Last thing about Hello Ralphie, I think maybe they got that innovation and optimization thing down packed. All right, so the next up is Theolytics. Theolytics is coming out of Oxford, United Kingdom. Come through, Oxford. So Theolytics is carrying heavy because they have raised $6.8 million in Series A from Epiderics Capital and Oxford Science Innovation and Tile Ventures. So Theolytics is a preclinical stage biotechnology company developing next generation oncolyte viral therapies. The people behind behind Theolytics is Charlotte Caseborn, CEO. Nicely done, Charlotte. Carried heavy today. All right, so we're going to check out the website. Theolytics. So it says, okay, Theolytics is in the upper middle. Underneath in the menu bar, it has About Us, Technology, Careers, News and Events, and Contacts, and it says Transforming Patient Lives. In one slide, the next slide says Through World-Leading Science, and the next slide, With a Great Team. Okay. So I have no clue what they do, and that doesn't really tell me much there. But well done, Theolytics, for carrying heavy in your $6 million Series A. And sometimes the science stuff, the marketing comes later. It's really about the science. So we're not even going to carry on them, but just congrats on the Series A. All right. Taking a deep breath in, inhale. Release. One more time, inhale. Shoulders coming up all the way to your ears and release. Shoulders dropping back down, inhale. Shoulders coming up, arms going up, reaching all the way to the ceiling. Fingertips stretching out wide. Reaching for your goals, reaching for your dreams, reaching for that new idea, reaching for innovation, reaching. And when you're ready, Releasing. Bringing what you carry back down with you. Past your head space, past your heart space, right there into your hara, your stomach area. Placing your hands on your belly, feeling it rise and fall, feeling the warmth of your skin, feeling the sensations around, feeling the sounds, the presence, the awareness of this moment. Ah, nicely done. Nicely done. Let's reset. So I'm getting ready to go watch my favorite show on television. And you're going to think that it's a total weirdo show, but I absolutely love it. And it is called, you're going to like, you're such a geek, such a VC geek. And it's called Bloomberg Daybreak Middle East. Right, that is my absolute favorite show on television, and it's really my favorite show, not just because it's coming out of Dubai, and Dubai has just like this such exotic appeal, and it's not just because that it's on Bloomberg, right? Because most shows on Bloomberg, they're a little dry, but it's because of the people behind this show, the two anchors. One of them is named Manis Cranny, and the other one is named Yusuf Gamil Aldin. And they co-host this show from Dubai, and it is a constant, like, showmanship. They carry so much swagger that it is even hard to compartmentalize, to even just glean it all up. First of all, Manis Cranny is like this old school kind of G, right? He's from London. He carries himself with this poise. He speaks in this sort of way. And then you got like Yusuf Gamil Aldin. He's like this model, and he's like coming out there just like with all this kind of flash, and he always have like the new kind of suit, like it always looks like it's like nice freshly cut. And you got Manis Cranny over there just like with this old school kind of classic G look, and they both try to outdo each other. Like, so Yusuf Gamil Aldin, he'll start off and say something like, there is a process of reconciliation taking place between these two countries. And then Manis Cranny is like, I'm gonna show you how it's done, son. And he's like, no, Yusuf, there was a rapprochement, right? And he goes all in. So they're both just trying to outdo each other in this kind of swag, and it's just coming out of Dubai. So I'm getting ready to go watch that because it's 9 o'clock in LA. So that means it's coming on right now from Dubai. Anyway, enjoy yourselves. Live it up. Try to channel these Yusuf and Manis Cranny vibes and carry heavy in your life, right? Build something, grow something, create something. Remember that you're supposed to innovate and bring to market, but you're also supposed to optimize and know what cannot be measured. All right. Well done, entrepreneurs. I'll see you back here.